There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, along with me, Tim Dennis at the Supernatural News Desk. It is a Supernatural News ParaShare Monday. We're going to start a little backwards tonight, Tim.
Okay.
Because I was able to get a couple of the stories for ParaShare,
okay,
and my system shut down.
Oh.
And I've been unable to recover said system.
Uh-oh.
So I've only got a handful of stories to share, but we have a lot of news.
Yes.
So that makes up for it. We'll dip into that. We do have a big announcement to make, though.
Yes.
And this is something to be happy about, folks. Trust us on this. We are going to be doing things a little differently for the spring and summer months. We're going to be reducing the show load to just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Beyond the Darkness. Tuesday will continue with True Crime Tuesday over on Patreon. You can subscribe to that by going to darknessradio.com and click on the True Crime Tuesday banner. You never have to miss another minute of your two buddies as we present the weirdest and most unusual cases. And tomorrow, Tim, we've got a bizarre case. The Weeping Voice Killer.
Oh, yes.
From Minnesota.
Yeah.
This is an unnerving case. It is really bizarre. The audio alone that we have for tomorrow is worth listening to the show for.
Oh, yeah. I grew up here during that case. Yeah.
You can subscribe. It's only $5 a month. It's $1.25 a week is what it breaks down to, and it gives you access to all of the brand new episodes, all of the archives of the shows. Stop dicking around. Just go sign up for it. Get it signed up and join up and get into the true crime vein with us. But from now on, Beyond the Darkness will be available to you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we'll be continuing with one of your favorite shows, the Supernatural News ParaShare. We'll have a couple of interviews on Wednesday and on Friday, and we'll be continuing with Theater of the Mind. But we both have a couple of irons in the fire right now. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that is going to be taking up a lot of our time. We will be back in the fall to 5 days a week with Beyond the Darkness. But right now we've got a lot of really exciting stuff happening, and we're working on that. So I know you guys are going to be cool with it. As a matter of fact, most of you have written to us that you're a month or two behind in shows, which means we're giving you too damn many shows. If you've got that many months behind, it's time to give you a break and us a break while we go work on a few other projects. But you'll always get us here Monday, Wednesday, Friday for brand new editions of the best in paranormal talk radio. And it's not easy for us to do. This will be the first time we've stepped away from 5 days a week in 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
But again, it's not bad news. It's all good news. And we will be returning to a 5-day-a-week schedule later on this year.
Yeah.
So right now, though, let's get started with a couple of the ParaShare stories I have here, Tim, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
And then we'll dip into some supernatural news as the night progresses. Dear Dave and Tim, I'm writing to you today because of the most recent episode you did with Dark Waters. I just listened to that episode this weekend. What'd I tell you? A little behind. I think that was about 2 months ago we talked with Dark.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, I just listened to that episode this weekend, and listening to him tell those tales of terror has brought back a memory of mine that I have not thought of in 15 years. It is far and away the scariest thing that ever happened to me, and I'm left wondering if this has ever happened to listeners of your audience. I'm sure after reading this on air, you will get more emails like mine. It was back in 2002. I was a 17-year-old with a great group of friends. We would literally spend every second of the day together. Naturally, over time, things became stagnant, and we would look for new things to do to keep busy. That was when one of us in the group introduced us to a magazine called Weird New Jersey. Have you ever heard of it? It's a locally based paranormal oddball magazine that maps out weird things throughout our small yet gigantic state. And readers could go check out these claims for themselves. Well, that's pretty cool, actually. Have you ever heard of that magazine?
Not only have we heard of it, we've had the guy who publishes it on the show.
Who's that? So I can't remember. After 12 years, there's so many guests.
Yeah,
I can't recall.
We've had him on when you haven't been on the program.
Oh, I see. All right, good.
I got to look up his name real quick. Hold on.
That's when we came across the most interesting and creepy article. There was a road here in New Jersey called Shades of Death Road. Yes, that's the name. Shades of Death Road. I might avoid living on that one, Tim. if given the chance. And there was a beautiful house, like a 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom, huge room, 4,000 square foot mini McMansion, and I could get it for, I don't know, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah.
But my address would be on Shades of Death Road, Tim. Mm-hmm. That might be one I pass on.
I think so.
I said, am I being too superstitious on that?
No.
All right. We had to go visit this road, and what was even better was that it was relatively close to us, so there was no long car ride to check it out. Naturally, going in the night was the obvious option, and so we waited for the sun to go down on a Saturday, and we took the trip. When we got to the road, there was your standard street sign at the beginning of the road, almost daring you to enter. I flicked on my turn signal and made the right-hand turn onto the dark road. Shades of Death, at this point in 2002, was surrounded by giant trees on all sides. It was a winding street and had curves all throughout. There were no street lights. The only light to guide one in and out of the street was your trusty headlamps. After driving for what seemed like an eternity, we came upon a lake. We pulled off the side of the road, and being the only people around for what seemed like miles, we started to act our age. Some were screaming into the night, others were throwing rocks in the lake. The typical teenage, is this all you got mentality. That's when it happened. Unexpectedly, the trees began swaying violently, yet there was no wind. A loud clank noise came from the top of a ridge, and we all looked up. There I saw, as I did and the rest of us, some giant figure cloaked in white from head to toe. No face was visible, just a figure in the shape of some giant man. Just writing this is giving me the chills. We didn't know what the hell was this thing was, but let me tell you, it didn't look happy we were there. Suddenly it moved quickly back into the ridge and disappeared. That was enough for me. We all piled into my car and hightailed it out of there. We got maybe 15 seconds into the drive out of Shades of Death when behind my car were 2 headlights. The lights came right up onto the back of my car. I thought it was strange that there would be a car here, as we saw no one else here, but maybe they had come from the opposite direction. The lights kept coming at us, forcing me to accelerate. I thought to myself, okay, buddy, relax. I'm going as fast as I can. I looked closer in my mirror, but could not see any car behind the lights. No person driving, nothing. I asked my friends if they could see anything, but neither could they. Just 2 floating lights keeping up with the speed of the car. At this point, the lights became brighter and sped up to the back end of my car, tailgating me, then pulling back, then speeding up on me again. We thought for sure this had to be some group of hill people trying to mess with tourists. I sped up my car as fast as I could go. The trees were so thick, they blocked all light from the moon, and the only light to illuminate the road came from my own dim headlights. I jumped onto the accelerator and got my car up to 60 on this broken pavement, making quick turns to keep up with the curves of the road. The lights stayed with us the entire time, getting brighter as it got closer. One of my friends yelled, "Faster!" as they looked out the back window at the bright balls of light. 70 miles an hour now, the car bouncing up and down from the pavement and the poorly paved road at that, and breakneck speeds. The lights were right up on the back end of the car, and I thought for sure we were going to die. Maybe not from what was chasing us, but maybe from such great speeds on a narrow, winding road in a pitch-black night. We were chased by these lights for a few miles. I would speed up as fast as I could to outrun them, but they kept pace with the car the entire time of the road. We then came to a part of the road where the trees began to thin out, and we could see sky and the moon once again. And when we came up to the main road to get the hell out of there, when we got there, the lights were gone. This entire chase, we were just watching these lights for miles. We had our eyes glued to them, and as fast as lights being shut off, they were gone. This really freaked us out. How could they just disappear like that? If it were a car chasing us, they would have had to stop in the road, which at some point was illuminated from the moon. We looked back, but there was no car. There was nothing left on that street but a car full of panicked kids trying to get the hell out of there. I turned on the main street and drove us back to the hometown. When we got back, No one knew what to say. We didn't even talk about it. Life went on. Here I am 15 years later, finally telling the world what happened to us. I've met other people who have been on Shades of Death, but no one talks about being chased out of there by 2 floating lights or a giant white figure in the ridge by the lake. I hope after you read this to get to hear if other people have had the same experience. Thank you for reading. And that comes from Donald. All right, well, you've heard it. If any of you have had a similar experience out there on Shades of Death Road, email them to me, dave@darknessradio.com. Hi, Dave and Tim. Here's our story to tell. Story 1, part 1. One afternoon, I was washing dishes, and our cat was in the kitchen window. She was twitching her tail as she watched birds fly by. Leaves blow around just like any silly kitty. While looking down, I hear in my right ear a male voice, what I believe to be a male voice, say, "Kitty." There were a couple other words, but they were unintelligible. My cat growled and jumped down and went over to my boyfriend, Mike's feet, and sat between them. Kitty kept looking over at me, still growling. Yes, cats growl, it says. I asked Mike if he heard it too. He said that he did, but to him it was more a muffled sounding. I slid the curtains back, looked both ways as far as I could see. There was no one. Mike went out the east door of the garage and looked both ways. Still no one. I went out the front and looked both ways, but not a soul in sight. No kids running, no people meandering, so we were at a loss. A few days later, story 2, part 2, I was taking Kitty out on her leash. She is trained on a leash. I smelled the sweet aroma. Kitty had her nose in the air, too. This is unusual, as it's winter, and the neighbors' wood stoves normally had an acrid scent. I looked around to see if there were anyone else out there, and no, there was no one, no smoke coming from the neighbor's chimney. One of my friends on Facebook had said that it could have been an entity, alien or a far stretch, Bigfoot. They have a tendency to give off a scent to misdirect people. That I didn't know. Oh, when is Elmo going to make an appearance? We love your show, Jamie and Mike from Missouri. Tim, where is Elmo? He hasn't been around lately. Have you guys had a falling out?
No. We communicate. We text every once in a while.
Oh, do you?
It's hard for him because he's only got 3 fingers and they're very furry. But it's very slow in texting. But occasionally I get a text from him.
Do you guys talk on the phone much? Is he dating again? Is he out there in the world? I know he had a falling out with his
Zoe,
old puppeteer.
Well, yeah, he was a little rough on him.
Yeah,
but he has a new puppeteer now, and things seem to be going all right.
They're going okay.
Yeah,
he's not quite as dark Elmo as we remember him.
Well, he has his moments, Dave.
All right. Well, let's see if we can shake a tree and get Elmo to come out and maybe report on a cryptid story or 2 next week.
I think we should.
Should we?
Yeah.
I know people keep asking about Snallygaster. I'm really worried. I haven't heard from Snally in years.
Oh,
Tim.
No.
But Elmo seems keyed in. They have kind of this love-hate relationship. Maybe Elmo can dig out Snally at some point.
Maybe he can go on an expedition and try and find him.
Dear Dave and Tim, that's you and me in case you're keeping score. I'm writing to tell you about me. List time incident today. Okay.
All right.
Let's hope the rest of this is written a little bit more clearly. Now, I listen to you folks all the time and love the stories about the black-eyed kids or missing time. I was driving to work in the early morning, so around 6, just following my normal routine on if I should jump on the expressway or take the side streets. It was raining pretty heavily here in the Midwest the last few days, so one of the roads I take just happened to be a little flooded, causing minor delay. No big expressway it was. Is this Yoda writing
I think
to
it
us?
is Yoda, yeah. Congrats.
No big expressway it was. Now, living close to Chicago on the Illinois-Indiana border, I usually take side streets because of less congestion, but I wouldn't make it to work on time. I hop on I-80 heading westward North 294. This drive wasn't a big deal as it was still early and very little traffic, so I crank up the radio and go about my way. A few minutes later, I pass the South Holland Oasis and got on the correct lanes to continue north on 294. That was the last thing I remember. Shortly after, I started seeing signs for Wisconsin-Iowa exits, but I had no recollection of where I was or how long I'd been driving. It's not like I passed out or my mind wandered. It was just me and the road. Looking down at the clock, I had gone about 3 miles in what seemed to be just a few seconds. I even said to myself, I have no idea where I'm going. Following the course I was already on, what do you know? I once again see signs for the Wisconsin-Iowa exit. Weird. Was this rain something of the paranormal? I hope so. Anyway, keep up the great work, guys, and hope to hear from you too soon. And that comes from Tyler H. I'm noticing a weird resonance in my voice today. I got to be honest with you, Tim. I spent a good portion of my weekend watching investigation and forensic files and all of those shows.
Yep.
And I've got a strange fascination with Bill Curtis.
Yeah.
It kind of unnerves my wife because after I watch a bunch of those episodes, I walk around and speak like this.
It's kind of neat.
Honey, I'd like a ham sandwich quartered. No crusts and please. Hand squeezed orange juice. And she just stares at me. So I'm fighting that. I can hear it because I sit there doing the bad imitation all weekend.
Yeah.
So I think I'm trapped. I'm reading this. Maybe I'll save it for what I can for tomorrow.
Okay.
For True Crime Tuesday.
Okay.
Maybe I'll roll out my Bill Curtis. That's what the kids are saying nowadays. I'll roll out my Bill Curtis for little dumb crime, stupid criminals. What do you think of that?
I think you should. It'd be timely.
It's hard because once you get started,
Yeah.
It's like Pringles of the voice, man.
Can't
Once
stop.
I pop, I can't stop.
Yeah.
Hello, Dave and Tim. I'm a longtime fan, but this is my first time writing in. I have several Stort Shories.
Yes, Stort Stories.
Those are very popular on our show.
Are. Yeah.
Several short stories I'd like to share. Words can be hard, Tim.
They can be.
First one, actually, see, I almost started to dip into Bill Curtis there. Words can be hard, Tim. First one, it's one of those things that when I say it, it has the weird meter and resonance of Bill Curtis, but am I anywhere even near the vocal intonation of Bill Curtis?
You are very close.
Really?
Yeah.
I grew up with Bill Curtis on TV.
Yeah. Oh, I thought maybe he came over to
babysit. I didn't grow up on his
babysat.
knee, Tim.
Oh, okay.
No, but it is. Once you get that voice resounding in your noggin, it's hard to get him out of there.
Oh, well.
As a radio guy, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Guys that you emulate.
Yeah, yeah.
Good thing I didn't listen to Howard Stern all weekend. We'd be in trouble.
Oh, boy.
All right. First story actually involves my dad when he was a young boy. My dad grew up in an older house, probably built around the 1900s, a small West Virginia town. He slept in a second-story bedroom that was right at the top of the wooden stairs. You know, the kind of stairs that you hear every step while walking up them? He would frequently hear someone walking up the steps when he was laying in bed, even though my grandparents and uncle were already in bed. And he claims that whoever or whatever would come up the steps would come into his room. He described an older man, neatly dressed, that would just watch him. My dad would call for Grandpa and say, "He's back." My grandpa, being very religious, would pull the covers over say, what? And my grandma, being very religious, would pull the covers over her own head and just say, "He'll go away." And sure enough, he would. Now, this happened so often that my dad began sleeping with a baseball bat. I'm not sure when all of this activity stopped, but when I was little, I used to stay in that room and I never experienced anything. Dad still says that it really happened. Second story, now this one involves me. I was probably 16 years old, just got my license, and loved cruising the West Virginia back roads. One night I was on Limestone Road heading back to town. It's dark outside and I'm a new driver and I was probably going faster than I should have. If he turns out that he took a turn on like Shady Death Road or whatever, and he was following some kid's car, this is going to be a weird timing for these two stories.
Oh, yes.
I don't think that's going to happen, though.
No.
It's dark outside. I'm a new driver. I was probably going faster than I should have. Anyway, I come around a corner and there's a person standing in the road. I try to slow down, or I try to slide in. I bet Bill Curtis doesn't have these problems.
No, no.
It was at that time that I tried to slide in. What the hell was that? I try to slow down, but I drive right through them. I stop. No one's there. Did I just see a ghost? My headlights reflecting fog? Maybe a guardian angel telling me to slow down? I still have no clue, but I find it interesting that it was on Limestone Road, where there's a lot of, you guessed it, limestone. Is jellystone stones made of jelly, Tim? I never understood that.
They are. Yeah.
Third story happened about 2 years ago on the 4th of July. I was camping with my then girlfriend, now wife, and her family by the south branch of the Potomac River. It's a large campground, lots of campers and tents everywhere. Anyway, as a tradition, we had a lot of fireworks we were going to set off that night. I was in the camper when I hear my father-in-law say something about a UFO. I thought he was messing with me because everyone knows my interest in the paranormal, but I go out and see it. It was bright, low-flying orange orb. At first, I thought maybe it was a drone, but this made no noise, and it remained in the air for about 45 minutes. That's a long time for an average drone. When we sat off our fireworks, it even flew by as if to watch. The strangest part is how it just seemed normal to all of us. I took several blurry and out-of-focus pictures of it. Looking back, I just don't understand why I didn't try harder to get proof of this thing. The following week, I get on MUFON and see that people all over the country saw the same orange orb that night. I've seen other things in the sky that I couldn't explain, but this was the weirdest just because of the calm, dreamy state we were all in. If you enjoyed these stories, I'll send more. Thanks for all you do, and try to make it to the Mothman Festival sometime. Derek Wetzel. Well, Derek, of course we enjoyed the stories.
Yeah.
Send more.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it. That's all I was able to acquire before my computer crapped out on me this week, Tim.
Oh, okay.
So now it's time for Supernatural News with Tim Dennis. Breaking news, Tim.
Yeah.
Darkness Radio Beyond the Darkness can now be heard Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, bringing you the best in paranormal talk radio 3 days a week. We're going to do that just until the fall. We'll be back to 5 days. Again, just as a reminder, we have a lot of exciting things going on behind the scenes that we are not at liberty to talk about out loud right now. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
But we will continue bringing you the best in paranormal news and paranormal activity. But first, why don't we take a quick break, Tim?
Okay.
And we'll come back. We'll delve into the world of supernatural news. We've got a lot of crazy stories to share with you, and we'll do that next right here on Beyond the Darkness.
Beyond the Darkness.
All right, we're back. It's time to take a look at supernatural news. Tim, where shall we begin now?
We're going to the CDC, Dave, and that's not...
you know me.
Well, I don't know that it's that exciting. The CDC is the Centers for Disease Control, Dave, and normally we try to stay away from that place because there's disease there. Although a mystery has become afoot. Is that a phrase that I can use?
Oh, mystery?
A mystery.
That was the worst ever Shaggy
By
I've
the
ever
way,
done.
have you seen what DC has done to Scooby-Doo?
Oh, wait, yes. They've is it the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, where they've they brought in J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen to write a storyline for Scooby-Doo, and they brought in Howard Porter, the artist, and he's made them into full-fleshed human beings, and Scooby-Doo has...
Doesn't Shaggy have a full beard now, and he's more buff, and they're all kind of,
Yeah, they all
tweaked.
look like full-blown superheroes and
stuff. Count me out, pal.
Yeah, it's weird. So a CDC employee is missing nearly 2 weeks after leaving work sick. He's missing, Dave. The authorities...
wait a minute. What?
Yeah, gone. Missing.
A CDC employee is missing 2 weeks after he left going home sick.
Yep. Gone.
Oh, isn't this how every, infected movie begins?
Yep.
That or a monkey.
I love monkeys. So somebody,
it's always the monkey, Tim.
A good friend of ours sent me a monkey video over the weekend. It was so cute because the monkey had little crackers and then a little bottle, and it was so cute and dressed up in a little outfit.
Oh my God!
I just wanted to.
Let's get back to the CDC.
Okay.
This is what they do. See, they send some kind of underlying pulse, so when you start to read the story and feel upset, you start thinking about cute monkeys.
I do.
No, Tim, we've got to focus on this story. This is conspiratorial.
We're not thinking about cute
employee,
monkeys?
Tim, got sick, vanished, has not been seen for 2 weeks. CDC, Center for Disease Controls, Tim.
Then we'll think about cute monkeys?
No, just get to the story.
Okay. The authorities in Atlanta announced a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and indictment in the case of a missing Center for Disease Control and Prevention employee who disappeared about 2 weeks ago. The employee, 35-year-old Timothy J. Cunningham, no relation to Richie. I found that out. That's my investigative reporting.
Maybe this is what happened to his big brother Chuck, though.
Oh, that's right.
His big brother Chuck vanished.
Chuck never came back. Was promoted to commander in the United States Public Health Service in July, that according to his family. According to police, he was last seen on February 12th. I feel like I'm in a horrible Black Mirror episode, Commander Cunningham's sister Tiara Cunningham said in a phone interview on Saturday. I'm kind of lost without him, to be quite honest. Ms. Cunningham, who's 27, was the last family member to speak with Commander Cunningham before he went missing, according to her. Although they live in different states, Ms. Cunningham in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and her brother in Atlanta, they are best friends, and it is not unusual for them to talk multiple times a day.
It's not unusual to be talked to by everyone.
I was going to say if they're loving each other, that's weird.
Yeah, they were sister and brother.
But it is the South.
Y'all can send your hate emails.
You know what? I got chastised for the y'all thing
on
Twitter.
What?
I got chastised this weekend about saying y'all with Southern people, and all Southern people don't say y'all. That's what I was told on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's just what y'all are saying right now.
That's right.
That's not necessarily true.
I call shenanigans, y'all.
Yeah, I think y'all say it all the time.
Yeah.
So back to the story. They're best friends. It's not unusual for them to be talking multiple times a day, but nothing unless it's over the sweater. That's what we've learned.
Okay.
She said, but but their brief phone conversation on February 12th was a little different from most. I think he got a little hot and heated, a little bit.
No, this is brother and sister. Stop being weird.
Okay. He sounded not like himself. Oh, he was role playing. No. Okay. She said, without elaborating, they ended the conversation the way they always do. Love you. I'll talk to you later. Oh, see, they were into each other.
No, that's just how brothers and sisters talk.
I don't say I love you to my sisters.
Okay, that's how non-dysfunctional.
Oh,
brothers and sisters, yeah.
When she texted him later, she didn't get a response. Neither did her mother, who tried to contact him that afternoon. That was really weird, Ms. Cunningham said, adding that she was devastated by her brother's absence. Their father, 60-year-old Terrell Cunningham, said his son's supervisor told him that Commander Cunningham had reported for work, but that he had left midday because he wasn't feeling well. When the family had difficulty contacting him, they had asked a relative to check his home. The house and garage were locked and 2 windows were open. Commander Cunningham's father and his mother, Tia Wana, that's her name, I kid you not, it's Tia-Wana Cunningham. She's 60 years old.
Maybe it's Taya.
No, it's Tia.
Not that makes it any better. Taya Wana.
Tia, Wana
right, yep.
Cunningham. I bet you
her cousin, do you?
Do you want
to Cunningham?
I bet your middle name is Tequila.
Oh, God.
Drove all night from their home in Waldorf, Maryland, arriving in Atlanta early in the morning on February 14th. Terrell Cunningham said, I just did not know what to expect. You're somewhat fearful and you're praying. They used a spare key to enter their son's home where he lived alone with his dog, Mr. Bojangles, known as Bo. The dog had been left unattended, which was uncharacteristic for Commander Cunningham, that according to his father. They also discovered their son's wallet, his cell phone, the keys to his car, and various forms of identification, including his driver's license and passport.
Oh, no.
His car was in the garage, that according to his father as well. Commander Cunningham had a lot going on, personally and professionally, his father added, and his most recent conversation with his son had left him worried. The tone in the numerous exchanges gave us reason to be concerned about Tim, Terrell Cunningham said, and I don't know if it's an instinct you have because it's your child, but it was not a normal conversation, and I was not comfortable. The police are investigating the disappearance. As of today, we've been unable to locate Mr. Cunningham, and we are seeking the assistance of the public with this case. That according to Officer Donald T. Hanna of the Atlanta Police Department. The police have found no evidence of foul play. Commander Cunningham's family has teamed up with Crime Stoppers of Greater Atlanta and offered a $10,000 reward. Commander Cunningham's family described him as a gentle, driven, introspective, and meticulous person. He has 2 degrees from Harvard School of Public Health, according to the CDC's website, and has been deployed for public health emergencies such as outbreaks of Ebola and the Zika virus. He was also selected as one of the Atlanta Business Chronicle's 40 under 40 award winners. Ontario Cunningham, who's 41, is his older brother, and said the disappearance totally goes against just our core principles as a family, but also his personality. Commander Cunningham was the kind of person who sent people handwritten notes and encouraged his siblings to excel at school. The family says that they have no idea what might have happened, but that they are trying to stay positive. For now, there are more questions than answers. This is just so out of the realm of, I don't know, Ontario Cunningham said, his voice trailing off, like never in a million years would I have thought this.
And this is a brand new story, folks. This is from the 24th, yesterday. On Saturday. He has still not been found. That is really unnerving in many, many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, just to have somebody go vanish like that without a trace and nothing's out of place.
Right.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
But that the fact that he worked for the CDC.
Yeah.
And kind of had the heads up on a lot of these killer viruses and things.
Mm-hmm. A specialist in those viruses as well.
All right. Where are we off to next?
Well, a ghost of a young girl with dark eyes and pale skin has been seen in a disturbing Google Maps image. Talk about weird. The ghost of a young girl has apparently been spotted in a bizarre still from Google Maps. The chilling ghoul was captured in the town of, I'm going to try to pronounce this here. I believe it's Delicious in the Mexican state of Chihuahua. Chihuahua? There's an actual state named
It's just like you're having your own conversation with yourself.
There's actually a Mexican state of Chihuahua?
Now, why not?
Okay.
It's a little irritating.
It is.
Yeah.
Users spotted what appears to be a blonde girl who resembles a disturbing doll behind a red car. After zooming in, the child appears eerily pale and with her dark eyes fixed on the camera. The image has been widely shared and generated numerous theories about the girl's origin. Some claim the pictures offer evidence of a supernatural being, but skeptics point to a much simpler explanation. They say that it's just a doll or a poster pinned to the door of the front of the red car. Daily Star Online previously uncovered a photo that claims to show a female vampire ghost. The spooky snap was taken during a police raid at a karaoke club and apparently shows an evil spirit possessing a woman. Her eyes appear to be glowing, and the image was later handed over to a supernatural expert in the city of Probolinggo, Indonesia. I think they need to rename that city. Ahmed Hayam believes the woman was overpowered by a mythical jinn, a type of genie that took the form of a ghost. The photo triggered so much panic on social media that cops were forced to issue a statement. There you
go. All right. Where are we off to next?
And that statement would probably be, I just blanked my pants. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying. An allegedly haunted trail is the creepiest place you can explore in Ontario. Not a Tim Hortons. Just saying. Actually, there's a new Tim Hortons in St. Cloud.
I know.
Up there.
I hear that they've opened a couple of Tim Hortons in Minnesota.
I love me some Tim Hortons. I'm not going to lie. Ontario is home to a spooky trail that's said to be teeming with haunted sites and paranormal activity. Just outside a small village of Port Perry is the infamous Ghost Road, which was named after an urban legend involving a motorcyclist from the late 1950s. The story goes that the young man tested the limits of his bike on the road, speeding ahead at full throttle. Not realizing that the road was actually short, he made a sharp turn near the end of it and lost control. He ended up colliding with an old barbed wire fence, and was completely decapitated. Ouchie. With his head found beside a nearby large rock. I'm just imagining how much pain that would involve. Other versions of the story say that he wasn't decapitated, but instead simply hit his head on a rock as he fell off his bike. Still painful. Regardless of what version you believe, one thing is certain. The road is forever haunted by the ghost of the motorcyclist, with several reports over the years of a strange unidentified white light heading down the road that turns into a red light once it's passed. Aside from the urban legend, the location is said to have once been a well-traveled footpath for natives. Many historical artifacts have been discovered in the area, which support that theory. Many strange paranormal events have been reported over the years, with some Durham College students even claiming to have caught the incidents on tape. These incidents include sightings of hazy white beings, cars being randomly shaken forwards and backwards with children's handprints left over, car batteries suddenly dying near the end of the road where the motorcyclist died, electronics malfunctioning, and eerie sounds in the dark of night. And the article questions, would you dare to visit Ghost Road? I don't know, Dave, would you?
Is it outdoors?
Yeah, it is. It is outdoors.
No.
No.
Can they bring it indoors?
They could if they put it under a dome.
Yeah, I'd like to see it then.
Yeah, I think that would probably be a good deal.
All right. What's next?
Next, we go to chilling UFO abductions and ghostly hitchhikers revealed as the most terrifying incidents on Scotland's roads. We're visiting all the roads today. We're just staying outside, I think. It must be nice out. A retired clinical psychologist and ghost hunter has talked about sightings of freaky figures in his latest paranormal book. Ghost hunter Peter McHugh claims Scotland has some of the spookiest roads out there. The 69-year-old author has studied numerous reports of things that go bump on the tarmac. Retired clinical psychologist Peter from Glasgow talks about sightings of freaky figures, ghosts, and even UFOs in his latest paranormal book, which is published next month. Peter said, there's lots and lots of reports of people having strange experiences while driving. People have seen apparitions running out in front of their vehicles, phantom vehicles, and even so-called phantom hitchhikers. In his latest book, Paranormal Encounters on Britain's Roads, the investigator gives detailed accounts of some of the scariest. He tells Lisa Boyle about some of them. He goes on to say how he told how in the 1960s, a girl who was 13 at the time and a pal were walking towards a lane near the city's Black Hill estate when a flying saucer hovered above and lit up the area around them. A woman in the street grabbed the girls and huddled them next to some gates before the UFO had vanished. Peter added, when my informant got home, she was back much later than she expected. Husband and wife traveled to Bristol Airport from Scotland, got lost in the countryside at 4 a.m. They met a hitchhiker who offered to show them the way. Peter said when they got to the airport, the man simply vanished. This remote mountain pass on the A9 is said to be haunted by a phantom vehicle. In the 1950s, Bill Patterson, who was 5 at the time, and his family spotted an unusual old-fashioned locomotive that was emitting steam from the sides. Bill said at the time, we ran back to the bridge and looked over, but there was nothing. In 1972, pals Gary Wood and Colin Wright claimed they were chased by a UFO while driving on the A70 southwest of Edinburgh.
God, are you right over there?
I had to clear my
Edinburgh.
throat. Edinburgh. The two-tiered disc-shaped object gave off a shimmering mist and enveloped them in darkness for what seemed like a few seconds. But when they arrived at their destination, they had lost 90 whole minutes. There's a ghost road in Dumfries and Galloway. The A725 between Gretna and Dumfries is said to have been plagued by alleged phantom collisions as well. Peter said there have been numerous reports of people seeing apparitions while driving, including figures suddenly jumping out in front of vehicles. That could be a little alarming. In 1960, Margaret Ching was traveling to Gretna with her fiancé when she saw an old lady with Victorian clothes standing in the road. They thought they had driven right through her and described a feeling of a terrible chill. Lots of different stories there. And that's the end of that article.
All right, on we go. Where is our next stop?
Our next stop has to do with Google killing Magick. That's
sons of bitches.
I know. It says Google is killing Magick. The internet superpower is destroying mystic forces, rather. This according to a witch. Technology is more powerful than magic, according to one of the country's top white witches, who has warned internet giants such as Google that they are killing sorcery. 77-year-old Marion Green, a seasoned white witch and author, said technology separates people from the natural world. I don't know. Do you feel any more separated from the natural world than usual, Dave? I mean, do you normally go out into nature and commune with trees?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Usually just long enough to walk down to my driveway.
Yeah.
Check my mail and get back.
Okay. Well,
but I pass a tree.
Yeah. You don't want to be there any longer than usual.
Did I tell you we have velociraptors in our backyard?
You do?
Yes.
Really?
10.
10 of them?
There's wild turkeys in my new house.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them?
Yes,
They're like velociraptors.
They have some in Ham
No,
Lake.
I lived over near this way, never saw a wild turkey in my life.
No?
I come home one day, oh, cute, a turkey in my backyard. Thanksgiving's coming, right?
Oh,
No. Then the next day, dude, walk out there, 10 of them. They're like 14 feet tall. Could be ostriches. I don't know.
They're mean, too.
But I have kids. That's what I hear. Turkeys are mean.
They're mean. They're very mean.
So I've got kids. Should I be concerned? Is that why I got a good deal on this house?
Yeah.
They've got wild, angry velociraptor turkeys?
Yeah. They're very mean.
See, this is why I don't go out of doors.
You don't want to let the littlest ones near them because they will attack. They do come after them. I'm being serious. They do. There's no scientific evidence that magic exists, but thousands of people involved in witchcraft are convinced that they can make magic potions and cast spells using materials found in our natural environment. This, according to the article. Don't write me about it. For cry eye. She said, technology is killing magic. We do not need to be separated from the natural world, but an awful lot of young people grow up today distanced from nature. Young people don't go outside. Neither do old people. I hate to tell her. When I was a kid, there was no technology, and I spent all day outside. So did we, but we had no idea how dangerous it was. Now we do. She said schools may teach children about the woods, but they go home and say, Mom, what is an oak tree? I asked my mom that the other day, too. I had no idea. And she said it was a song by Morris Day. And then I listened to it. It's a pretty good one. Have you ever heard the Oak Tree?
Your mom's more up on Morris Day on the top than you are.
Yeah, than I am. Mrs. Green said...
Does it go like this? Oh,
no,
Oak Tree.
No, it's a little different than that, but it's
Watch out for the velociraptors.
No,
Oak Tree.
Yeah. Turkey, gotta come up and bite you in the butt. Mrs. Green said that they can get out their iPad and Google it, but it's not the same. Well, because you can't, Yeah. It does not give you the smell, the size, or the energy in the living being. Ooh, she's getting freaky with the oak tree, isn't she? Damn, girl. She told the annual occult conference in Glastonbury, Somerset, that trees could be used as a way of drawing up magic from the earth. Mrs. Green said people can gain information from technology, but they need to know about plants. She said wise men and women, the original names for witches, knew the cycles of nature and every plant and herb within a 5-mile radius of their homes and could use them to cure conditions such as warts.
How is Google exactly killing this?
I don't know, but Preparation H is also available.
Okay.
The White Witch said people were choosing to explore the environment virtually through Google Earth, but should get out there and feel the rain and build a magical memory. She sounds like one of them kinky hippies. She said, Magick is a real, genuine, positive power. People are divorced from the real world and out of sync. The old folk lived by the light of the moon and the tide, and they got all naked and dancing around. And yeah, a little beer there, here and there, We need to feel the balance and reconnect to nature, connect human nature to the natural world, the gentle art of natural magic, she was quoted as saying. The old world used to look hard. I call the ogle. Oh, she's calling it the ogle, Dave. Huh? A little ogling. Never mind the Google. We need to oogle. She says, go and state at a free and the chances are it will be looking back at you. Well, that's just effing creepy right there. That's the end of that tune. Yeah.
So how exactly is Google? Did this article explain it?
It did, yes.
I don't get it. I missed it. I listened, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe I was entranced because I was looking at my computer trying to figure out why I can't get into my stories.
That was it.
Google screwing with me? No, seriously. What was the point of...
The point is that technology is killing magic, Dave. She said that we do not need to be separated from the natural world. That basically we're not out in nature like you involved in your computer.
If I could go outside and watch Netflix on a tree, I'd go out more often.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah. Like me some Netflix and tree.
Netflix and tree.
Yeah. Then I would never leave.
Oh, God, Dave, that's not the point. It's just not.
See what I did there?
I did. Yeah.
All right, get on with it. What's our next story?
Alien skulls. That's
Pardon me?
That's what it says there. I just read it the way it was spelled out for me. A shock verdict after DNA tests reveal where elongated heads come from, Dave. They come from when an elongated man loves an elongated woman. And then that's what I learned in biology class. DNA test results on the elongated skulls discovered in Peru have been released by a researcher investigating if the bones could belong to an alien race. The 3,000-year-old Paracas skulls with elongated craniums have long been held up by UFO hunters as evidence of ancient alien visitations due to their extraordinarily huge foreheads. They call them a 7-head, Dave, because they're 3 bigger than a faux head. You've heard that joke before, right? Researcher Brian Forrester initially thought the discovery would not fit into the known evolutionary tree. The Paracas skulls were discovered on the desert peninsula of Paracas on the southern coast of Peru, but native archaeologist Julio Tello in 1928. In 2015, discovering earlier DNA tests on the remains, he said the mitochondrial DNA from the mother presented mutations unknown to any man, primate, or any other animal, and the mutations suggested we are dealing with completely new human-like beings, very distant from Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, or Denisovans? Never heard of them.
Yeah. Denisovans, yeah.
Isn't he the one who did the weather back on Channel 11 back in the 60s? No,
he was the guitarist for the E Street Band, Steve Denisovans, I think.
Steve Denisovans? Oh, very good.
Yeah, he was also on featured player on The Sopranos.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not sure it will even fit into the known evolutionary trees, quoted as saying. Research by skeptics later uncovered that those involved had a history of involvement and belief and research into paranormal subjects such as the Yeti and so-called alien hybrids, an alleged crossbreed between humans and aliens. Skeptics argue that the skulls are just another example of international cranial deformation as seen among many ancient South American tribes. Now, Mr. Forrester, who is director of the Paracas History Museum, has released details of DNA tests he said were carried out in conjunction with the Peruvian government. And he appears to now accept that they were probably human in origin. In 2 video updates about the DNA, Mr. Forrester made no mention of extraterrestrials. Yeah. He described how the Paracas skulls appear to share DNA links with other elongated skulls found between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea.
What?
Yeah. Mr. Forrester believes the elongation is not just caused by artificial cranial deformation, but rather by genetics, with some elongated skulls' cranium volume being up to 25% larger and 60% heavier than conventional human skulls. He says this means that they could not have been intentionally deformed through head binding or flattening, as cranial deformation can change the shape but does not alter the volume or weight of a skull. Speaking at the Elongated Skulls Symposium in Los Angeles, yes, there is one, look it up, Mr. Forrester said, what does it show for sure is that the Paracas elongated skull people were not 100% Native American. Oh, interesting. Also, they were a mix, or even you could say in some ways a hybrid of different people. Their blood types were very complicated as well. They should be blood type O if they're 100% Native American, and that is not the case. We are looking at a subspecies of humanity as regards to the Paracas. It seems to be a lot of DNA evidence from extreme Eastern Europe and extreme Western Asia. More specifically, I'm talking about the area in between the Black Sea and Caspian Sea, where ancient elongated skull people lived, I think, about 3,000 years ago. So I think we were looking at a migration period starting in the Caspian Black Sea area and entering through the Persian Gulf, and then moving eastward, eventually winding up on the coast of Peru. He added, it appears that the largest elongated skulls on the planet have been found, A, in Peru, and Paracas, Peru, and B, in the Caucasus area in between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So in my theory is that there is a subspecies of human, which we are going to be eventually calling Homo sapiens sapiens Paracas, and that they were living in the area between the Caspian and Black Sea. They were invaded by somebody, so they were forced to flee. Archaeologist Mr. Tello found more than 300 of the odd skeletal remains in a complex grave system in 1928. There you go.
But he just believes they're just offshoots of humanity. Nothing to see here, unless he's taking a payment.
Oh, look at you with the little conspiratorial deal there, talking about
just
taking a payment.
There's always that chance.
Yeah.
That chance.
All
right, what's next?
A tarot card controversy, Dave.
A tail turd? What?
Tarot turds. I can't even talk anymore, Dave.
Tarot cards, Tim. Let me help you with it. Or tarot.
Tarot card controversy.
And then they found the tarot card.
A tarot card controversy, Dave, sparks heated debate at a public hearing. Oh, now it's hitting the fan. The Richlands Town Council failed to vote on a controversial zoning change that would allow tarot card readings to be added as a permitted use for town businesses on this past week. Opponents and proponents alike crammed elbow to elbow in the town council meeting room, with droves of people overflowing into the hallway at Town Hall. Community members came to speak both in favor and in opposition to the proposed change that was perpetuated by a perceived ban on tarot readings inside Richland's businesses. I'm not the first person to ever tell fortunes in town, said Mountain Magick owner Mark Mullins. I'm just the first person wanting to do it legally, I guess. Mullins filed the application with the Richlands Planning Commission to add fortune-telling as a permitted use for a business. Fortune-telling is an umbrella term that includes tarot readings and other forms of divination. Despite the large number of supporters to show up at the hearing, Mullins was met by overwhelming opposition, the majority of whom cited biblical teachings as reasoning for a denial. Some said they feared for the family's safety if the town permitted the practice to go on inside the store. Others argued the practice could open up demonic realms which young children would be subjected to. Others said they feared a failure to prevent the change would go against them on Judgment Day. It's going against them on Judgment Day, Dave.
It always is.
Yeah. I don't really want my children thinking that's okay if they go in there and they get confused and don't know what something is, one woman said, adding, if we open that up in this area, we're letting people go into this. Will their blood be required of our hands?
Oh, boy.
Boy, there's not too much melodrama going on there, is there? Mullins pointed out at the start of the meeting that he currently legally read tarot cards on the sidewalk in front of his store and could legally perform a reading inside. The only thing he's prohibited from doing, he said, is voicing his interpretation. I can do it on the streets, and it can be a sideshow, or I can do it inside the building where no one can see, he said. Members of the pagan community attempted to quell fears that the shop might corrupt the community. We're not here to corrupt your children. We're not.
No, that's our job.
Yeah,
Beyond the darkness.
Right.
It's our job to corrupt your children.
That's right. We're not here to turn anyone against a religion they have, one woman said. We're not here to try to convert you or change you or bring sin to Richlands. All we're asking is for the same religious freedoms and the same religious rights as you have. Supporters of the change expressed concern that a failure to approve the motion would violate Mullins' First Amendment rights. One supporter called it a slippery slope and warned that it should be avoided at all costs. My concern is more that this is plain and simply a First Amendment right, because they were not trying to make money from it. So it is simply a matter of their freedom of expression and freedom of speech. One supporter argued if they had been charging for it, then it would be a zoning issue. But as it is, it's an infringement on their personal rights. And my concern is that if you allow prohibition of one person's rights, it may be seen as great to the people on the other side. But once you open that door, you open the possibility of infringing on everybody's rights. Some opponents urged the Commission and Council not to be intimidated by the possible threat of interference from the American Civil Liberties Union, or the ACLU.
Oh, boy, big guns.
The town has already been intimidated by the ACLU, one woman said. Our resources sometimes are limited, and so they can make us cower sometimes, but in the boldness of the Holy Ghost, I bind their success. One woman took prayer out of schools, and we sat back and did nothing, thinking it was going to be harmless, a pastor warned. I want the board and everyone else to think about that. On a non-religious point, the owner of the Richlands Record Exchange pointed to consumer appeal as a reason for an approval. Every week I'm approached for directors to their shop, so I do know that it is bringing in revenue, he said. As you've seen, there's a young lady from Grundy who comes to the store. That's out-of-towners coming here, spending money. And when they ask for directions to the store, they also ask, what's a good restaurant to go eat at? Again, while they're here, they're in town, and they're spending money on other businesses. There you go.
All righty. How many more do we have, sir?
We have 3 more stories.
All right. Let us begin our descent into the final stories from hell.
Well,
I'm trying to build up a little anticipation.
Okay, that's building it up. The weirdest things you'll find in Asbury Park's Paranormal Museum, Dave.
Oh, now we have a reason to go to Asbury Park. I couldn't write it off before as a Bruce Springsteen lunatic who would probably just hang around trying to make friends with him somewhere.
Yeah.
Call me Bruce. But now I can go there for a paranormal reason. Call me Bruce.
Yeah. Asbury Park, New Jersey has a long history of keeping things weird, and today, other than Dave hanging out waiting to meet Bruce.
Call me Bruce.
And today, as the area becomes more developed and populated, there are still plenty of sites dedicated to keeping that strangeness alive, mainly paranormal books and curiosities. This Cookman Avenue store also houses a museum that is famous for its eerie oddities and artifacts. Are you thinking about checking it out, Dave? Before you go,
yes.
Here are the weirdest things you'll find at the Paranormal Museum. There's a haunted doll collection.
Well, there has to be.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the most popular items on display is the haunted doll collection. And while all the dolls are creepy in their own way, there is none more frightening than Ida, a resident doll with bright red bloodshot eyes, markings on her face, and a strangely crisp and clean blue dress. One look at Ida will be enough to scare you silly and also wonder what the story behind this toy is. But owner Kathy Kelly remarks that at the end of the tour, you're welcome to stay and look more closely at the dolls alone. Well, that's your own risk, however. I don't know that you want to do that. Do you?
Why not?
Oh, I don't know.
I like creepy dolls. You know that.
Yeah.
I married one.
Oh, my God.
She's so small. She's so very little.
She is very little.
Her voice goes like this when she gets mad.
That is creepy.
My wife, yeah. I don't want to get on the wrong side of that one.
Yeah.
She may only be 5 foot tall, but
Yeah.
she's like a whirling dervish of. I don't want to be on the wrong side. That's all I'm
Whirling
saying.
dervish.
A whirling dervish.
Way to go back to the 20s for that one.
She's one of them that whirling dervishes, but don't worry, Tim. She's the cat pajamas for me.
I guess. The soldier's horn, donated to the museum by a family from the New England area. This haunted horn's mouthpiece has a historic background and eerie story. It once belonged to a Revolutionary wartime soldier who died in the farmhouse of that family. Family members claimed they would hear the horn sound at the time of major change, such as a birth, death, or yes, it was a Minnesota Viking, or other major life event. It remained silent for years until the museum underwent a major renovation, and suddenly there was a low, mournful sound of a horn. Kind of like that.
Which we heard at the final game this year.
Yeah, we did. The Jersey Devil is part of this museum.
Well, they caught him. They put him in a cage. He's
I
there.
guess so, yeah. This is what he sounds like.
Call me Bruce.
That's him right there. Many visitors are unaware of the fact that when the museum originally opened in 2009, it was a way to share stories and artifacts of New Jersey's most famous monster. Almost, too. After
Hey, everybody. Jersey Devil here.
he sounds,
Cousin of Rolf the dog.
he sounds like Rolf. After running the exhibit for an entire year, the storefront evolved into a bookstore, shop, and eventually the museum it is today. On a tour, visitors can see what the owners claim is the skull of the the skull of the Jersey Devil. The New Jersey Devils play over across the river, which resembles a cross between a farm animal and mythical creature.
Call me Bruce.
In addition to the skull, you can also see a drawing of the monster that was once published in a newspaper in the early 20th century. This has nothing to do with Dave, but the Hand of Glory is in the museum. Call him, Bruce. You can experience the Hand of Glory. Just saying. This macabre...
How much is it to get in the Hand of Glory?
Well, it's cheaper than you think.
All right, I'm coming.
I bet you are.
Pardon me?
The macabre candle holder claims to be made from the severed left hand of a corpse that once belonged to a hanged murderer. Legend has it that it once held a candle made from the fat of the body, and if it was lit, mischief would ensue. Oh, that's grim. You can see the hand, sans the candle, of course, and a glass encasement as part of the Paranormal Museum tour. Just a few of the things you can find in Asbury Park.
And Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And the Stone Pony.
Doesn't he
I want to
live
go to
in
the
LA
Stone
now?
Pony. I think he balanced. No, he's on the East Coast again, but I don't know.
Is he?
I think he still lives and has a big house in Jersey.
Okay.
Like a farm.
Like a farm?
Yeah.
And that's where all the dogs go when it's time?
What? No.
No.
Call me Bruce. Do you think it'd be weird if I did find out where he was living and I just kind of hung out at the end of his driveway?
Yeah.
Wearing a Grim Reaper costume?
Yes,
Yeah,
that'd be
bad
very
news.
weird.
I do. Oh, man. Yeah. He just hangs out at bars down there on his motorcycle.
Are you sure?
Can I rent one of those little Vespas? Those little
A Vespa. Yeah.
You know, what are those called? The little Yamaha hoppers?
Yeah, it is
Remember
a
those?
Vespa, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And you think he'd hang out with you while you're hanging out on your Vespa.
Why not? Hey, we're two guys. We're two bros hitting the open road. So, how long you been riding? About 5 minutes.
I just rented this.
Yeah, that's a great hog you got there.
Oh, hog.
Yeah. That's what they call their motor bicycles. A hog?
Not Vespas, no.
Yeah. So you're saying that would not impress the boss?
No.
What if I was wearing a leather jacket and boots?
On a Vespa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I going to rent something big I can't control? I got you for that. Something big I can't control. I don't need a Harley. I got a Tim Dennis. All right. What's our final story?
That's cute. Motorcycle.
Is this our final story?
I have two.
Oh, okay.
I said I had three.
Doesn't
before.
matter. I was just asking what the final story
It's
was.
simple arithmetic. I had three. I read one. Now I've got two.
All right. What's our final second story?
The UK's most haunted tree is blamed for setting a car on fire.
Another tree story?
Another tree
Good
story.
God,
This
the
is
Google
why-
tree.
This is why we don't go out in nature.
Right.
Yeah. This is why Google has killed Magick.
Yeah.
The UK's most haunted tree has been blamed for a car bursting into flames. The mysterious blaze broke out beneath a 250-year-old cedar tree, said to be cursed by a witch who was hanged from its branches. 62-year-old grandma Karen Lilly saw firefighters tackling the blaze and said it's supposed to be one of the oldest trees, and legend has it that it's unlucky to talk when walking under the tree. It's unlucky to do anything, I guess. My nan would never let me talk while walking under it. It's to do with the house. The tree used to be part of the garden, she said. A witch is supposed to have been hanged from it, and a little girl is part of the haunted house. They then put her in a straitjacket and took her away. No, I'm kidding. My colleagues all laugh at me when I tell them about the tree, she said. Karen, who has lived near the tree in Surrey all of her life, would never dream of having her photo taken with it as she fears the curse. Locals admit that they stay silent or even hold their breath when walking beneath the branches. The burned out car's location is too much of a coincidence for some locals who believe it is further proof of the tree's spookiness. Andrea Knowles, who lives in the area, said, I heard that the tree is cursed. If you speak beneath it, you will have bad luck.
Ow, stop taking my apples.
I even...
Was that from The Wizard of Oz?
I think
that was
so.
like one of the creepiest parts of the movie. You keep the witch. It was some freaky 8 trees winging apples at them.
Well, and the trees from H.R. Puff and stuff used to talk, too,
Oh,
didn't
yeah, they did.
Yeah. See?
Stop taking our apples.
I even hold my breath so the cursed one cannot see my soul as I pass, is what this local said. Other tales say that the ghosts of a nun and a monk also haunt the tree, and some say the offices next to the tree are even more haunted. Building contractors Buxton, who work out of the converted old rectory.
Pardon?
Well, I used
the rectory?
I used to have a converted old rectory, but then I got a new one. I had surgery last week. Claimed their scared staff refused to go down to the cellar alone. They also say poltergeist roams the building. Incidents reported include a stapler flying to the floor untouched and cupboard doors bursting open in the boardroom. Buxton blogged about the happenings at their HQ last Halloween. It said, grown men are known to have left the building in haste, being the last one in the office and having such an overbearing feeling of foreboding that they have had to leave. There you go.
Hey, I do want to address one thing on Friday's show. We were talking about a possible Mandela effect moment regarding the Pied Piper story.
Right.
Now, I thought I was clear. Do you remember what my question was?
Your question was, I thought that the Pied Piper had the name of the story had a different name.
Right. So far, I've gotten, and I feel like I've stepped into a second Mandela effect because everybody 90% of the people that have responded said, I remember the story going this way. Which that was never up for debate.
Right. No, it wasn't.
I was just asking if they could tell me the title of the story.
Yeah.
And now here's a weird thing. The 5 people that responded.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that. 5 of the people that responded to the actual question got the answer I was looking for.
Really?
And like 2 or 3 got the Pied Piper of Hamelin. That was what we were introduced to, and I looked it up. Remember, I was talking to Nick, and I'm like, that can't be right. He must be mistaken. He's from England. He should know this. And I pulled it up, and it was Pied Piper of Hamelin. Do you remember what the title? Did you have a different version of the story?
I couldn't remember. I think at the time we were kind of messaging back and forth because we didn't want to ruin it for the people who were listening.
Maybe let's give it another couple of days.
Okay.
Here's the question now. He referred to it as the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Right.
The story's not up for debate. I don't.
Yeah.
You can talk to me about that at another time. What do you remember the title of this story being? If it's Hamelin, that's great. I just want to get but I will say I've received more answers to my response than to Pied Piper of Hamelin. Like I said, I've had about 3 people say, no, I remember the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Most of the other people are, and it's funny, the ones that are responding and not answering the correct question only refer to it as your Pied Piper question. And then they go into, I remember him leading the rats this way. I remember him drowning the children.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, that's, what do you remember the title? And they're not even in the title. They're not giving away like, I remember the Pied Piper of blah, 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 doing it this way. They're leaving that whole aspect out. What do you remember the name of it to be?
Right.
So the Pied Piper of
blank.
Email me, dave@darknessradio.com. All right, our final story, or have I messed up the math?
No, you got the math right.
Ladies and gentlemen, our final story.
Jefferson has declared itself the state Bigfoot capital. Bigfoot is official in Jefferson.
In Texas? Texas has taken over that deal. They're the official Bigfoot capital of the world now, or what? Or just the Bigfoot capital of Texas?
This is from the Longview News Journal. I don't know what state.
I thought that was Texas.
Is it Texas?
I don't know.
We'll say it's Texas. Why not?
Why not?
Right near the Canadian border. Bigfoot is official in Jefferson. A proclamation last week by Jefferson Mayor Carrie Heaster Jr., by the way, recognizes his city as the official Bigfoot capital of Texas. Yes, it is Texas, Dave.
See?
See, all I had to do was pre-read.
All my cryptids live in Texas.
I love that song. Not really. And there's more. The proclamation signed Monday states numerous Marion County residents have reported multiple sightings of mysterious Bigfoot-like creatures in and around Jefferson for decades. Take that, you a-holes. I don't know what that means. It also recognizes Jefferson as the geographical epicenter of Bigfoot sightings. The idea for the proclamation came from Texas Bigfoot Conference founder Craig Woolheater. How do you get that last name from generations back? Woolheater.
Probably because they were a knitting family or they were a looming family, and that they would create heated or warm items for you from wool.
Maybe you got caught. Maybe you got caught out back of the barn with a sheep.
There's that. And that is how they became known as the Wool Heaters. I'm Bill Curtis, and that's your strange fact of the day.
The idea for the proclamation came from Texas Bigfoot Conference founder Craig Woolheater. Shame on you, who hosts the annual conference in downtown Jefferson each October. 13 other cities in the U.S. use Bigfoot for tourism, and that's where I got this idea, Woolheater said Friday. I brought the idea for the proclamation up to the city after I saw a city in Alabama do the same. Oh, so he's a big copycat. Woolheater's annual Bigfoot conference draws hundreds to the Bayou City and has also set up a college scholarship fund benefiting 2 Jefferson High School graduating seniors each year. We had the city of Jefferson issue a proclamation in 2005 recognizing the third weekend in October as the official Texas Bigfoot Conference weekend. In 2016, we had a proclamation issued recognizing the 15th anniversary of the Texas Bigfoot Conference, Woolheater said. This year's Texas Bigfoot Conference is set for October 19th, 20th, and 21st at the Jefferson Transportation Center. This is the... Beep, beep. On a Vespa.
Call me Bruce.
This is the 51st anniversary of the Patterson-Gimlin film, where they captured the famous image of a Bigfoot walking in the woods in 1967, Woolheater said. We will have a tribute to that film at the conference this year, and Bob Gimlin, who shot that film, will be in Jefferson to speak at the conference. The proclamation also recognizes Woolheater's conference and the tourists it brings to Jefferson each year, whereas the Texas Bigfoot Conference has been established in Jefferson in 2001 by Craig Woolheater and having attracted large crowds of interested local and out-of-town Bigfoot enthusiasts, and to discuss Bigfoot sightings and evidence, city officials recognized that many tourists, outdoor enthusiasts, and visitors to Marion County are interested in Bigfoot. Local officials see the benefit to supporting the educational, social, and tourism aspects of Bigfoot research.
Sellouts.
The proclamation reads. And then it says that Woolheater guy, he's kind of sketchy. I think his family used to take the sheep behind the barn.
Don't do that.
What?
No,
No.
he's kidding you.
I
You're never going to get
kidding.
hired to that one. Nice.
I know. No, I don't get hired to very many things. Is it because I speak out of turn? Is that it? Is that why I'm not getting hired?
That talking about what a jinx you are.
Oh, that too.
There's that. All right. Well, for the jinx.
Well, you just called me a jinx.
This is Darkness Radio, Dave, and we'll be back with you with another brand new episode on Wednesday and Friday this week. Going forward until this fall, we'll be on a 3-day-a-week schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, while we're dealing with some great things going on behind the scenes. But you can still find us 4 days a week by taking and listening to our True Crime Tuesday show. Subscribe to it right now. You can go to patreon.com. You can get the free Patreon app, and you can subscribe to our show for $5 a month. It'll give you access to the best in true crime talk radio. And tomorrow's a great leaping off point for those of you still on the fence. It is an amazing story. You got to check it out for yourself. The Weeping Voice Killer. I know it sounds silly, but it'll run your blood cold. Check it out, and you can find links for that at darknessradio.com. Click on the True Crime Tuesday banner to subscribe right now. All right, we're out of here. Take care. Love one another. We'll see you again on Wednesday right here on the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness.